Jon Stewart did a whole parody of this that was just hilarious. He did this whole Glenn Beck thing. So I mean, it's nuts, right? I mean, it was
Do you think the
crazy,
FBI
right?
actually showed up at his
Oh, yeah, actually, I do. This is Kash Patel's FBI. Yeah,
Right,
I
that's
do. I
true.
think they probably did.
We need some
It
tips.
was probably Kash himself raced over on the private plane, you know.
Oh, and that's right. I'm getting reminded that Glenn Beck was obsessed with Acorn. And for people who don't know, I mean, this is one of the sort of like forgotten failures of the Obama administration and of that era. You know, people talk about don't criticize Obama now, blah, blah, blah. There was a lot to criticize contemporaneously. But in retrospect, too, the loss of Democratic lawmakers on a state level was just massive. Governorships, state houses, on and on.
It was a massacre. It really was. It was terrible.
And there was a whole attitude of like every person for themselves. And so when Acorn, which was a key organization that would organize low-income people, particularly through like tenant organizations and community organizations, Acorn was targeted by what's his name, O'Keefe from Project Veritas, and they just folded. The entire government.
Wasn't that the thing where he dressed up like a pimp?
I think
and I think it was Lila Rose, the anti-abortion, activist. She dressed up like the street prostitute,
and they went into one local. Like I think like health clinic,
New Orleans or someplace,
and Acorn was completely decimated. The funding for these organizing groups was destroyed with the complicity of the Democratic Party. And it really fundamentally undermined. It was a get out the vote organization and fundamentally undermined the get out the vote process and, getting people who are underrepresented to actually get to the polls. Do we have that?
Yep.
We have
All
it
right,
now.
let's play some of this. Walk us through some of this, Heather.
Oh, well,
I want to show you this was just off the cuff. Okay. This is how hard it really is. Okay. So let's just speculate here for a minute. Let's call it a starting point for people at the FBI or Justice Department as they begin investigating leads. For far too long, the people potentially supporting Antifa have remained in the shadows. That's what Trump is going to end. Is Antifa more than just a decentralized and leaderless organization? Well, I've split Antifa up into 3 different categories: street groups and soldiers, that one, support groups, and funding sources. But let me start right at the top with the street groups.
I guess we should just say you can keep him up there, but we should say, kudos to him for actually calling it Antifa as opposed to Antifa.
Right. Well,
that's how you know
Trump.
he's
Didn't
done his
he change
research.
it to Antifa? Yeah.
Oh yeah, he knows how
he does his own research. Yeah,
he knows how the indigenous Antifa people pronounce it. It's anti-fascist. We should just get the Antifa Politburo to change the name to anti-fascist.
I like how this whole. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I have a very stupid remark, except to say, like, this whole aesthetic is like, it looks like CSI, right? Where they're about to say, how they're going to go after the bad guys. And it feels like he's trying to evoke a police chief as some sort of authority figure for his very elderly audience.
Exactly. And I didn't even know Glenn Beck was still around, to tell you the truth. I mean, where's he been? I know he started his own media company that kind of has, sunk into oblivion. It's the Blaze. Does anybody, do anything with that? And the Antifa part, I think, is really interesting because it used to be that Antifa was a good thing, right? In fact, they used to call the people who went over to Spain to fight in the revolution against Franco. They were sort of put down as kind of commie lefties, whatever, and they called them premature anti-fascists. which suggested that being an anti-fascist, they just did it too early. But anti-fascism was a good thing, right? Because we beat the Nazis, et cetera, et cetera. Now suddenly it's bad to be anti-fascist. Go figure. Interesting, don't you think? Considering who's in charge and who's saying that. I mean, just don't call us fascists. Yeah, okay. Well, you sure ain't anti-fascist, that's for sure.
Because this is where the politicians, the media, and the think tanks say, that's the investigation. You just can investigate these guys. Nothing else. Don't look here. But the groups are all over the news, going back to around 2016. Groups like Rose City Antifa Portland, Elm Fork, John Brown Gun Club.
What happened around 2016?
Anyway. Eugene Antifa, Oregon, Atlanta, Pittsburgh Antifa, Refuse Fascism, Jane's Revenge. Now, you've seen the carnage of these groups all over.
Sound like bands.
We continue to see it every day in places like Chicago and Portland, but this is where we're supposed to stop looking. I mean, they can't find anything because the trail goes cold there. Antifa is decentralized.
I see a cop.
Well, if that is true,
watch, she's gonna.
Are these guys who don't work? A lot of them are on drugs, crazy. Are they self-funding all of these things? Because how do we get to the next category, which is support groups? For instance, the National Lawyers Guild. This is the legal arm for Antifa. If you've been in a riot or seen anything on TV, you're watching on the side, there are people standing on the side and they're wearing the green hats, okay? That's the National Lawyers Guild. They openly brag about how they provide.
The best way to stay shadows, sleeper cell.
Hiding in plain sight with their brightly colored hats.
Yeah, we got the wrong green. We wanted camo.
They're making sure that people are following the law. Good.
Legal support to the street soldiers. But there's no organization in that. No. Next, we have Antifa International. This one's kind of hilarious because the people who describe Antifa as decentralized and leaderless. You have an Antifa International. I mean, it's like BLM Inc. From an Antifa fundraiser, and again, who do you write the check to? They're described as, quote, an international anti-fascist collective with years of experience managing the International Anti-Fascist Defense Fund and other anti-fascist projects. So you have no central control, no base of operations or anything else, but you have years of experience managing. Really?
And a website.
How about Antifa International? Antifa International helped fundraise the Legal Defense Fund for the militants that attacked the ICE facility in Texas. And while we're at it, take a look at Community Justice Exchange.
Can you pause it for 1 second?
Yeah, come on now.
Like
he is this bullshit.
Why
funding the legal defense. Funding the legal defense is very, very different than funding them to protests. Like, there are nonprofits, there are things like pro bono work, although the Trump administration has waged war against that with all the elite
thank you for all that pro bono work for me.
Yes.
Like the ACLU, they sometimes defend people who have done hate speech, or back in the day, they were protecting the free speech rights of people, even if it was stuff that I would think is racist or reprehensible.
They defended Nazis. They did.
They defended Nazis, but and that is a very equivalent service to the one that he's describing. But apparently, this is some international network.
I mean, everyone who has looked at any footage of these protests knows that we actually should have people there monitoring the people cracking heads, so that people aren't just victimized by them willy-nilly.
I'm sorry. Did you say the ACLU? Yes, but you also notice that is the first and last letters in Antifa. And then also,
there you
look
go.
at that. Emma. Interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead. Just go. Keep going. Let's keep going.
National Bail Fund Network. They were bailing people out during the Summer of Rage of George Floyd riots. They're probably worth looking into, specifically due to their major partner, which is, oh my gosh, the Tides Foundation, our old friends at the Tides Foundation. Look, these connections, these organizations are legion. We are Legion. Yeah, that's probably what they say. Anyway,
get it, Christians.
remember, as per all the politicians and media experts, no centralized organization. Okay, but you have the support groups that are supporting them with no organization. And then you have this, funding sources. Now, this is interesting. Again, who do you write your check to? This is split between nonprofits and foundations, also crowdfunding sources. Now, I already mentioned the Tides Foundation, one of the darkest of the dark left-wing radical money funnels on the planet. You know, who knows all the trails that lead back to Tides? But just for starters, let's look at these. Tides Foundation funds an organization called Alliance for Global Justice. Money from here. They refunnel money to groups.
This is just a big list of all the groups that Glenn Beck has been freaked out about for like his entire career.
It is finally come together.
It's fine. They've finally been written on a blackboard next to the word Antifa.
And the FBI is listening at long last. They are putting their faith in the man who did the work and did the research.
He's one of those volunteer sheriffs. He's like those volunteer, you know.
Like Herschel Walker or whatever.
Yeah. And Dean Cain. Whatever happened to him at ICE? Is he still there?
I think he was the guy who we watched fall
over
the other day.
And his gun went flying on down the street. Yeah, that was good.
Well,
so this is the state of where we are in the Antifa the Antifa investigation. And they put this guy Gary Shapley in the IRS, which I would say he's just maybe a step below Glenn Beck as far as credibility is concerned. That doesn't mean that they're not going to do something, because they will. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt that they can, they'll get rid of anybody who objects to breaking the law. And the law is very clear that they're not allowed to do any of this stuff in terms of investigating people just because of their, whatever their political disposition is. But they're going to do it anyway. And, I think mostly it's a PR thing. I think they're probably going to, maybe they'll go after and indict or audit some of the groups, but mostly it's just a matter of threatening people and threats and intimidation, which is what they're doing across the board. I mean, a lot of this stuff is just standard authoritarian playbook. Just get some examples out there, arrest James Comey, arrest Letitia James, threaten people with IRS audits, and a lot of that is just that at the same time, though, they actually have a police state in action in the Department of Homeland Security, which has been given a blank check. Apparently, to do whatever they want. And they are cracking heads. They are hurting and killing and shooting and killing people in the streets of America. That is happening. And so you put that combination together of all these threats of using the Department of Justice, the IRS, and then what's happening in the streets. And we're there now. I mean, it's fa of Antifa. It's full fa. We're full fa now.
Heather Parton, always a pleasure.
Well, this was fun.
Yes.
Good
to laugh, right?
Getting some Glenn Beck in there. It's been a while, so that was kind of fun.
But as always, thank you so much. We will link to your salon.com columns and, of course, Hullabaloo. Really appreciate your time today. Yeah. And folks.
See you all in the streets tomorrow.
Exactly.
We're all going.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.